welcome to Highly Disputed. For episode 4, I have a fantastic treat for you. Today we have 3 panelists. With me I have Kinderspiel, JefftheMagicGoat, and Monochrome94. And so right out of the gate, our headline topic of the day is the Power Rankings. The pre-Week 7 Power Rankings have been released, and they are NG Blossom in first place, Kisses for Cats and Iron Dragon tied in second, then Julia Duck, Glacial Rising Phoenix, Huge Me Indifference, Trigger Happy down in 7th, Ape Together Strong in 8th, and Smug Club in 9th. So, what do you guys think about that?
I think that Iron Dragon shouldn't be tied for Kisses with Cats in the past couple of weeks. I think Cats has been a far stronger team and are moving into the last, bit of the split as probably our number 2.
You're trying to tell me you think Kisses for Cats is flat out better than Iron Dragon?
I also think Trigger Happy is criminally underranked, but that's fine.
Whoa.
Okay. All right, no, Trigger Happy deserves to be where they're at, right? I'm going to call it. And honestly, I think Kisses for Cats and Iron Dragon are closer than they should be, but I still think Iron Dragon is in a higher position, especially given the fact that they started putting on a more aggressive junglers. Their last game this past weekend showed that they still had that spark, and it was there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm at the side with Mono. As far as Iron Dragon, Kisses for Cats goes, definitely got to side with Mono here. I do think Kisses for Cats is close, but I definitely would not jump to saying that they're tied or in the lead of Iron Dragon. I'd say they're definitely the third ranking team right now, but I don't know.
Say if Iron Dragon can continue to give us what they did a little bit of this weekend and show some actual cohesion and early game play, they might be able to call themselves the number 2 team again. But all split long, it's been terrible early games into, we outscale late games, so because nobody else was able to clean it up early, we'll win. And that's not great. They've given blood now twice, and I think if they
3 times, actually, I think.
Yeah, you're right. 3 times. They've lost 3 times. I don't count when they lose to NG Blossom because that's just how the world works. But we can just remove everybody's loss to NG Blossom when considering power rankings because everyone's losing to NG Blossom. But
you don't think NG's going to drop a game second half or last 3 weeks?
I mean, there's a real chance one of these games they might drop. They just haven't shown to me any weakness. Their cohesion, their aggression, their team compositions all say they know what they're doing.
I will say this as a quick side note that NG Blossom's first 2 games of the second round robin have been against Smug and Ape. So they have the tougher part of the schedule ahead of them here, for sure. It's interesting to keep that in mind.
But they've already beat everybody.
They have beat everybody once, but I don't know. It's hard to go completely undefeated. We saw it last season with Iron Dragon. Even the Season 1 Iron Dragon dropped 1 game, so we'll have to see. But we touched on Trigger Happy real quick. Just to get back to that a little bit, this is exactly where I had them ranked, actually, 7th. Which one of you said you disagreed with that again?
Oh, that was me.
Of course.
I have them at 7th also.
So where do you have them, Jeff? What teams do you put them above?
I'm in 4th, right below Iron Dragon. Yeah,
man, they came up as 0-2 weeks, man. I don't know. They looked really bad.
They had a bad weekend. If I remember right, they had a couple of subs in places. They weren't bringing their normal A game, but I think moving forward, as long as everyone's there and everybody's able to participate, Trigger Happy has both a love of the game and a passion for everything that really drives them, and they have technical skill. It's just they have to have their team together to show the cohesion they need.
I want to let Mono touch on this because I know he has a couple thoughts, but real quick, I'm going to have to disagree. Normally, I'd agree with you. Trigger Happy has had great mental state and great approach to the game for the majority of the season, but I can't go into too much specifics, but an inside source has been telling me that I've been having some issues, and I feel like that definitely did show on the Rift this week. So I have my doubts about Trigger Happy moving forward, personally.
Whoa! You're making predictions with inside information. Everyone else is making predictions with what we've seen.
Hey man, I'm just saying.
Well, hold on.
Just saying.
I do my research too. I know some insider information as well because I pay attention. And look, Trigger Happy, it's genuinely hard to hold a team together for as long as a split is. There's a reason that professional players are paid a fair bit to do so, and even then, they are still at risk of being subbed in or out. So you have a whole lot of trust issues involved with this, and sometimes you have a player that just goes too far or doesn't go far enough. And that's definitely not the case here, but just going on to say is a split or a full split is a lot of League, right? More than you would ever want to do in a normal weekend. This is a tournament stretched out, and whether or not you're doing good or bad, you're still stuck with it for the entire split, right? So it's a lot to weigh on a team, and some people just aren't prepared to go through that entire journey with 100% mindset. Hell, I don't think anybody is, except for maybe NG Blossom, because they haven't dropped a game. But Trigger Happy hasn't been playing well, right? They're having some, I don't know, communication issues or something, but they haven't been cohesion. Or there hasn't been cohesion in their game. It feels very much like, all right, we're going to throw that guy in the top lane, and with sporadic ganks from whoever, we're going to put a mid laner in, either be it Ishan or their normal mid laner, and we're going to just kind of let it lie. And it feels very Clash teamy to me, right? People that aren't playing with each other enough.
I mean, that's compared to everyone else in the ALS right now. I mean, you're saying that's any better than Glacial Rising Phoenix or Julia Ducks?
I would say absolutely it's better than Glacial Rising Phoenix. They've looked like a very coordinated team. And this is a side note, the fact that they're actually ranked 5th here, which I did have them 5th as well, but the fact that they're power ranked 5th just goes to show the depth of a lot of our skill from our teams, because Glacial Rising is definitely a very strong team to have them be in the 5th power ranking. But
I will say I also had Glacial Rising Phoenix in 5th, and in my own mind, I did have them tied with Trigger Happy, but I ended up putting Trigger Happy on top. Ultimately, I think these are issues that you see in a number of amateur teams. You're seeing a lot of subs coming in as we move into the later part of the split, and that's just a normal thing for most of these teams. So I don't want to ping Trigger Happy because of some cohesion, but especially in the early parts of the split, I saw more cohesion and more enjoyment of the game and more enjoyment of just taking part in the league. And I mean, if stuff isn't 100% there right now, that would definitely change my rankings. But both them and Glacial Rising Phoenix have, in my experience, shown a lot more cohesion, especially early on. As we move forward, we'll see.
Well, that's another interesting thing.
You can go ahead. I'm gonna segue here for a second. I'm gonna give you a toxic take on this, right? I'm gonna be real honest. Julia Duck, Glacial Rising Phoenix, and Huge Point of Difference are literally just my middle of the pack teams, and I just literally the middle third, right?
Wait, which three?
I don't. The Julia Duck, GR, or Glacial Rising Phoenix, and Huge Point of Difference. They are this is the average, which makes for a great race topic. We're racing to the finalists as we get there, but I do not think that they are winners here, right? They're literally just all right, let's throw stuff at the wall. These are the guys in the middle, and so my ranking of Trigger Happy, which I had at 7th, and I also had Glacial Rising Phoenix at 5th. We pretty much all agreed on that. But my ranking of Trigger Happy being below them is entirely based on the fact that I feel like they're below average at the moment. And those three teams are what I would consider the average. We've got the super high skill cap, but terrible team cohesion, Julia Duck. We've got Glacial Rising Phoenix that just feels remarkably average. I mean, average is still good, but average. And Huge Meaning Difference, which also feels slightly less average than Glacial Rising Phoenix. But so my experience or my feelings, Trigger Happy has been below average as of late, and therefore I put them that low. And that's why. Now, I want to get back to whatever Kinder was trying to say. I just had to throw in a little bit of my toxic take on all this.
I actually want to touch on that real quick too, but I'll say my other point real quick was when we were talking about Trigger Happy, kind of like having we were just kind of like talking about how they haven't been performing recently. But if you would look back 2 weeks ago when we released the Power Rankings, before we had them in the 3rd seed looking really good, so it doesn't take long for. Let me just rephrase it. You look at Kisses for Cats as well. They started to split off at 1 and 3, and now look at them. They're I don't have their record in front of me actually. They are 7 and 4 right now. They've had a complete turnaround from the first couple weeks of the split. That's something else to keep in mind. Is the split is pretty long, and even if you look at leagues like the LCS teams, perform better or worse at different points in the split, and it's definitely a journey and a grind to be able to perform at a good level for the entirety. So I think we should keep that in mind as well. But back to what you were saying about you think these teams are the middle of the pack teams, HMD, Glacial Rising, Julie Duck. I don't look at it at all like that. I feel like you have to look at it in terms of playoff picture. There's going to be 6 teams that make the playoffs, and I look at it as there's 5 of the teams that I pretty much would lock in. That's NG, Kisses, Iron Dragon, Julia Duck, and Glacial. I feel like those 5 teams are all at a competent enough level that they're definitely going to end up making the playoffs. So I look at it really as a top 5 instead of having a middle of the pack. I don't know what Jeff thinks about it.
I mean, I think there are 3 teams I definitely see making the playoffs. I think right now you have to consider when you look at games played and games left to play. Right now, Julia Ducks and Trigger Happy have only played 10 games. Glacial Rising Phoenix, Huge Minion Difference have both played 11 games. Right now, Trigger Happy, I mean, they're probably going to lose on Saturday to Iron Dragon. Sorry, guys, love you, but you're going to get that prediction now. But they still have, they're going to have 2 games this weekend. They're playing Smug Club, they're playing Iron Dragon. They're probably going to leave this weekend 6-6. Julia Duck, this weekend, they're playing Kisses for Cats. They're playing NG Blossom. They're probably going to leave this weekend 5-7.
What team was that?
Julia Duck is playing against Kisses for Cats and NG Blossom.
So you don't think they're going to pick up either of those? It's possible. They won't.
I mean, they would have to pull an upset.
Because also something that is come about is that Julie Duck has lost their mid laner and jungler. They lost Vitalize and another day Z. Both had to go back to Korea for their own issues, but we have not seen their new jungler or new mid laner yet. So that is also something to look forward to as we move into week 7.
That's the other thing. It's a lot of Julia Duck's losses are because they just didn't show up.
That too.
And that's a continuous problem that
they're only 2
right.
Awesome Iron Dragon, I think. Their actual losses.
Julia Duck is actually a team that I was going to talk about later in the show, so I think we should just talk about it right now. Kind of some of the stuff that you guys are covering here, which is that their play has been very inconsistent. And so I wanted to get a prediction from all of you for both of their games this weekend against NG Blossom and against Kisses for Cats. And I also wanted to ask, I know we think they're probably going to make the playoffs, but do you think that they comparing, they're very inconsistent, but when they're on and doing well, when things are going right, they have some very strong performance. So I wanted to ask if you think that they might be in contention for a in the money spot in the playoffs. Are they?
I'll steal this question first if that's okay, because I have some strong feelings about it. I feel like the Julia Duck, when coming into the season, they were the favorite team, at least in my opinion. And that first match of the season, season 1 or week 1, day 1, was Iron Dragon versus Kisses for Cats. And if you remember, that was such an amazing game. The Iron Dragon ended up coming back and winning it, but again, Julie Duck's only losses have been to Iron Dragon in that one game, and then against NG Blossom, which is obviously nothing to be ashamed of. So I feel like Julia Duck, especially, will have to keep an eye on their new members coming in, but definitely I feel like they're top 4 right now just because Kisses for Cats has been so hot, but definitely moving down the stretch here could prevail as a top 3 or top 2 team in my opinion. But this predictions for this week, I'd say they probably won't win the NG Blossom, but anything's possible obviously. And then depending on the new mid laner and jungler, I could see them taking down Kisses for Cats for sure.
Already given my predictions. If they don't build up the consistency of showing up, and if a lot depends on new team members, that's a massive unknown. But I just can't imagine that they're going to be able to compete if they aren't consistent. So that's just something I have to see them change. I believe in Kisses for Cats. I put them in my number 2 slot for a reason. I believe in NG Blossom.
Blasphemy.
I dream of Exasperated, so I've got to call it. It's going to be an 0-2 weekend for them.
I'm going to disagree. I'm going to say they're definitely going to lose to NG Blossom.
Definitely. Wow.
Definitely. 100% they're going to lose. Even if they bring in this stupid level of talent, I've always had a communication problem, and they have always had a problem with just not practicing with each other. And walking in blind against our top seeded team, it feels like a solo queue special. And let's be honest, a solo queue special is never going to beat NG Blossom, right? They just play too well as a team. They practice together. They look at their previous plays. They review themselves. They feel like a cohesive unit. And Julia Duck, especially when picking up 2 brand new members this weekend, if they even manage to do so, but fingers crossed they do. I'd love to see new people, but I don't see them picking up a win against NG Blossom. Now, on raw solo queue talent, I think they have a chance to beat Kisses for Cats. I don't think it's a good chance, but I think it's a chance. And so, I'm honestly kind of 50-50 on that game. If I was betting, I'd put it at even odds.
It's also possible that the new members could improve their communication. Just a possibility. We'll have to see what happens, but
I don't know. That's a very egotistical team. That's a bunch of good players that know they're good and don't necessarily want to practice being good. At least in my opinion. So we'll see. We'll see.
So I do want to say also, Glacial Rising Phoenix only has 1 game this weekend. It's against Apes Together Strong. They could just be in that 7 or in that 7 and 5 slot. If I have a lot of beliefs on what Apes Together Strong can be doing in the second half of the split. It's a very hard road for them, but if they show some of the brilliance they showed this weekend, you might see it.
Speaking of Apes Together Strong, I'm going to interrupt you very briefly here. I just want to say the fact that they aren't our 9th seat on this makes me happy in a very special way.
Absolutely. And that's nothing against
They
Smug
won more
Club,
recently.
on the record.
They won more recently, and they won very convincingly. I mean, granted, it was on the back of 2 subs, and I'd love for them to be able to bring both of these players back in. Oh Lord, what was his name?
FBJ.
Yeah, FBJ. He came in and just really showed a lot of power in what it's like to provide global presence. His TF this weekend was fantastic. If they can continue to bring in him, that might just really start racking them up some wins. But they're also they're not going to have an easy weekend. They're playing Iron Dragon. They're playing Glacial Rising Phoenix. I would love to be able to see them take down Glacial Rising Phoenix this weekend.
That would be that's an interesting thing too, because you look at the win that Apes had against Huge Minion Difference, and you think, oh, that's great for Apes. They got the first dub, but that's really bad for HMD, especially as kind of they're on this bubble for making playoffs, as they're really gonna have to Picking up that L really is gonna, I feel like, make it difficult for them down the stretch to end up making it in that 6th spot.
They're about to play NG Blossom on Sunday. That's their only game this weekend, so that's rough. I mean, they're going to have an easier time moving forward because they're not going to have to play NG Blossom again this split. So that's good news.
There's always that. Or maybe they can pull the upset. I predict someone's going to be NG before the end of the season.
Huge Minion Difference has upset before. Let's not forget that they're the first ones to bloody Iron Dragon this season.
Absolutely.
All right, any final thoughts? Any last words about the power rankings here?
NG Blossom is our Cloud9. I'm just gonna call it.
Yeah, remember what happened at Cloud9 last split? They lost the game.
You know what? Cloud9 gang wins. That doesn't count.
And you know how they lost to TSM? What? No, that's okay.
They doesn't count.
They lost 100 Thieves this past weekend.
True, they already lost the game. So NG's gonna drop one game. We just gotta see who it's to.
All right.
Honestly, I feel like if anyone's gonna do it, it's gonna be like Julia Duck on like the playoffs. Julia Duck's actually gonna. Doubt.
We'll see.
All right, time will tell. But I'm going to change the topic just ever so slightly, and talk about our choices for Player of the Week. So we have a Player of the Week every week, and it's always someone with these really eye-catching stat lines, which is generally the ADCs. Sometimes it's a mid player, sometimes it's a jungle player. But I know this might be near and dear to your heart, Mono. What would it take for a support player to win your nomination, not yours specifically, Mono, anyone, to win our nomination for Player of the Week? What would a support player have to do?
Be Player of the Week? No, I'm just kidding. Nah, I mean, you just gotta have. It is definitely harder because you're not gonna have necessarily the insanely flashy stat lines. Even when you do have an insanely flashy stat line for support, someone else in your team is probably gonna also have that. So you really just have to visually control the game with your own plays, and it's definitely less common, even if supports do have massive impact, to have it be visual and obvious. But it happens. I predict we'll have one by the end of the split. But
I mean,
Jeff, you go first because I want to close this out.
There are ways for supports to do this. Now, you can play that assassin support, like that killer, Pike support or something like that, and just have this huge line. But
absolutely,
you could also do it by having those really sweet playmaking thresh plays, or those really sweet any of these supports that can make huge game-winning plays is definitely a way for that to happen. The other way to make that happen is to put your ADC on Senna, and you take something that does fun things with Senna, and y'all just go to town, and you can get that huge stat line as well. But, I mean, it's hard. It really is. It's an unsung position. You see supports doing their job, but we're not going through, I don't know if anyone is. I'm not going to say nobody is, but I'm normally not going through checking, vision score when I'm thinking about Player of the Week. I'm not going through, looking at how many Thresh Lanterns pulled somebody out of death, even though I probably should, because that's a great thing for a support to be doing. But it's just hard. I feel for them.
All right. I'm going to just say this. This is, as a support main, we will not have a Player of the Week be a support.
No. Don't say that.
So, being a good support is so non-quantifiable. So typically speaking, most of your shot callers are going to be supports. Look at Crepo, one of the best supports that ever hit the LEC, right? He was the shot caller for his team. And honestly, he played Thresh, he played Bard, he played these things that make things happen. But being a good support and being that position means that you deliberately give up the highlights reel to give it to your ADC. You babysit that poor bastard until he is actually relevant. That's your point. That's your goal. And then once that point is reached, you now babysit the rest of the team to make sure that they can make things happen. You place the vast majority of wards, you keep the vision score up, you sweep the jungle, you keep CC, or you keep healing, or you keep something relevant to make your team perform the best. Playing support is what I often consider to be a thankless job. You have to enjoy being the person behind the scenes, making the rest of your team look like the gods and badasses they are. And you just have to give up on ever being famous.
I can tell you feel very passionately about this, but I'm about to go ahead and disagree with you on this one.
Hey, I'm biased. I usually end up voting for junglers, so I'm probably the last person to be asking.
We're going to see a support. I'm calling it right now, Mono. I'm going to remain completely unbiased. I'll remain completely unbiased with my votes, for the record as well. I predict we're going to see it.
To share some of the...
I'm a support main, and I don't vote support. I'm just going to go put it out there.
To share some of the love, who's the best support in the ALS, or who's your favorite support in the ALS?
Oh, man, that's a tough question.
Oof. Oof. I really enjoy watching God, what is his name? The support for Trigger Happy.
Troll the Noob.
Troll the Noob is excellent. I really enjoy him.
Yeah, I like Troll the Noob's play. He plays a lot of the hook champions that I typically enjoy. He loves Thresh. He's really good at it. So I enjoy watching Troll the Noob. Honestly, yeah, he's probably just my favorite in general.
I'm kind of torn about this one. I'd say maybe either XDME from NG Blossom. He's pretty pro NGL, but I'm also pretty good fan of Xylandis from Glacial Rising, and then also SJ. Huge main difference. But I don't know, if I had to pick my absolute favorite, I'd probably go XDME.
I'm also fond of Angeloid. I want to put that out there. Angeloid plays a lot of caster support. She plays your enchantresses, and I appreciate that. That is an unsung thing. Also, she eats a lot of bans whenever she plays for some reason. So that kind of helps in and of itself. So shout out to Angeloid. Still sticking with my first pick, but kudos.
Yeah, I'm staying with Haxel.
True.
He's been playing top lane, though.
Yeah, but not anymore.
You're not wrong.
They've completely swapped it.
The past couple of weeks, he's been playing he's been pulling out Leonas, he's been pulling out Threshes. These are the supports I love to see. And realistically, all maximum love I can possibly give to XDME, but I really enjoy seeing Leona's out there. I really love to see Threshes on the Rift. These are the champs I like. Tom Kinch is kind of boring to me. Actually, I loathe Tom Kinch with every fiber of my being, but
Air. It's the Kinch.
All right, so to wrap up our episode 4, I've got a really quick one here for you. What do you guys think about Yone being the next champion after Lilia?
We don't have any information on him, just that he's a champion.
You don't have a lore perspective answer?
I think an art, and the art was cool and all. If I remember right, it looked kind of like a similar to, I don't know, another sword champ. Cool.
I have absolutely no information on him whatsoever, but his name's pretty dope, so that's all I got.
It's going to be something weep-tastic. It's going to be this whole entire Spirit Blossom thing just reeks of some hardcore anime nonsense. It's Yasuo 2.0. I'm just going to call it. It's just going to be another weird sword master champion like Yasuo or Master Yi. It's just going to be something like that. Just as aggravating too.
You saw The moment I saw the art, I thought it was just a Yasuo skin. Like, I straight up thought it was another Yasuo skin until I saw, like, something in Twitter that, like, ID'd it as a new champion.
Alright, and on that note, we are going to wrap up episode 4 of Highly Disputed. This has been Mutant Encounter here with Kinderspiel, Monochrome 94, and Jeff the Magic Goat, and we'll see you all on the Rift Saturday at 1 p.m.